So first we're going to install the top part. And we're just going to put some glue on top of here. Place that on top of the ball. And press it down a little bit. Not hugely, just so that you can, you want it to be level. So if you don't get it level in the first try, just either press the back down or the front down, whichever is higher. Usually it'll be the back. You may see some tearing and stuff in your glue. Try to repair it best you can, but this is actually going to be covered in there. So it's not too bad if that's a little bit mutant. Just as long as it doesn't get too close to where the gun comes out, it won't be visible. Try also to center this above the ball, or you will have pains later trying to make the sides match. So like I said, this is a bit of a learning process. And as long as you don't damage the part of the ball right around the gun, then you can kind of tear these bits off and start again. So I'm just going to smooth this stuff out. And this isn't a quick process either, so this may take a little while. Okay, so while that's drying into place, we're going to round this bottom part here around a skewer. So hopefully this doesn't delaminate on us. So we're going to end up having to round it quite a bit. Okay. We're going to install that below the gun with the flat side up and the rounded side down. I mean, there's a curved side that's like a curved edge is down, and the straight is up. And if you can't get this to sit in right underneath the gun, you may have to notch it a little bit. It's usually not too much of a problem, and if there's a tiny bit of separation, you don't have to worry about it too much. It's pretty rare that it has to be notched. And it shouldn't be notched much. It should be barely noticeable if it is. So just install that and try to get the sides to stick right to the side of the ball and follow its curve around. And this top part you should try to get fairly horizontally. It should match the top of the hull, or superstructure, rather. Okay, now these parts often have to be modified a little bit to make them fit in there. So this is the right, so that goes over here. And the round part actually goes down, which may be somewhat surprising. This whole thing is slightly flexed. So we're going to test fit this, and then if it fits, we'll stick it in there. But sometimes it has to be modified a little bit. So we'll find that out now. What you're looking for is this flat to fit right underneath this top plate. So it's going to have to be trimmed a little bit to fit in there. So I need to trim the top. So again, you just set these in the first time and observe what needs to happen for it to fit. Because each of these ball... Okay. This should fit perfectly in there. The first side's always easier because the second side, not only do you need to fit it under there, but you're trying to get it to match as well, which is just an extra layer of challenge. I'm sure we can handle it. Just get that to set in there. And especially try to get this back corner to fit in underneath this round top. And hopefully nothing comes out past the round top. And then get this pieces here to try to meet fairly straight with this. Now there's going to be a little bit of a gap as this rounded area phases into this other. I wouldn't worry too much about that. We can just use a patch or something small to cover that up to make it look like one piece. And now we got to work the other side. So again, the rounded is down. I'll just set this in there without putting any glue in there to see exactly how much it needs to be modified. Okay. So we need to find out how far the other one how close the other one looks like it comes to the gun before we... Okay, so not very close. So we need to take quite a bit off this piece. Okay. Hopefully that's a little closer now. Okay. Starting to look pretty close there. Yeah? Yeah. Close enough for me. This is a pretty torturous process. I'm sorry about that. And again, there's going to be variation as to how yours is going to fit together compared to mine. Okay, slide this in. Okay, check that it's matching to the side. Immediately ordered the arrest of 100 people in the crowd. That certainly wasn't going to happen. He completely misjudged their mood. A riot started and Bantam's men had to flee. Okay, now, if you have a hardened bit of 1 millimeter wide cereal box, you're going to cut it So it is slightly angled. Not a great angle, but a little bit. We're going to try to estimate the distance after we round this a little bit. Distance, we need to cut it to fit it on the other side. So if I cut a piece like this, so you may have to cut a few of these until you get it the right size, or cut it a little bit long and then trim it as you can see better how much needs to come off. You just want to, yeah, perfect. So you see that's meeting this angle, that other side's pretty close to meeting that angle. It's about the right size. I'm just going to trim a tiny, tiny bit off of it and it should fit perfectly. So we're going to glue that to the underside of the top piece. And try to keep everything going into its proper place. Add glue if you need to. And then pop this in. Let's re-round it a little bit. So make tiny patches, and I mean really small, ridiculously small really. Just trying to cover a few areas that look a little bit ugly and meld them into one. For example, along here, you can use a patch. Just cover that transition. There we go. And the other side, exactly the same place. So try to put that bottom crease back into it. And just squash that down into there. You want to round this little piece long ways around a round toothpick. And this is the driver's hatch vision slit. And it's even sort of I think a separate hatch itself. So we can open up a little slit for himself to have a better driving view when he's not in combat. So just glue that right onto there after rounding it a little.